Hello everyone, welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about a couple of watches that I picked up earlier this week, and believe it or not, I actually bought these watches from Lidl. I was just there shopping for a few bits and bobs for the house and I came across these watches and I just thought, okay, these are really quite, for the price, they're really quite special, and having had a closer look, I firmly believe what I thought in the beginning when I bought them is definitely stands up. So I thought, okay, I'll make a video about them. It's an unusual place to buy watches from, and it's good to showcase these kind of watches to everyone as well. It's not always about Rolex and Seiko and all the brands and things like that. Sometimes it's cool to find something unusual, even in the high street, if it's good value, that is. And these are quintessential high street brand watches. You can see from the packaging here. They're German high street brand watches, so it's a little taste of something different. Obviously, the UK high street brands, things like Seconda, Limit, I would class this in and around that region, but even cheaper really, because the price point of these watches, $14.99 over in Lidl. They introduced them recently. I've done a little research since, and I think you'll find a lot of these displayed on deal sites and things like that, where the members of the public put up cool deals for other people to see. The one that I've seen it on is Hot UK Deals. There's loads of little people that are posting about this watch, and yeah, so apparently Lidl introduced this watch in the UK over sometime in June this year, and it's a German high street brand, I think, and the brand name is Auriol, and yeah, so obviously in Germany, I'm sure the guys over there are much more familiar with this brand, in a similar way that here in the UK we would probably be familiar with Limit or Seconda. So yeah, so I was just shopping around Lidl. I came across these watches and I really liked the look of them, so I picked up a couple, $14.99 each. The box on this one has unfortunately been destroyed, but you can see what it looked like in this box here. So we'll have a look at the watches. I'll go through why I really like them, and I really think the value stands up even after opening and checking them out and things like that. Of course, these are cheap watches. They're not by any means supposed to compete with much more expensive watches in the hundreds of pounds ranges or anything like that. That's not the idea, but I think you'll find, and I'll do some comparisons with some other watches that are nearly double, triple the price of these, and these stand up so well against those, if not better. And so yeah, we'll go through the watches and we'll have a little talk about them. So this is the first color that we'll talk about today, which I think is the ice blue. You can see here, first of all, they come with some extra links in there, which is nice to see. You've also got a tool to help you size the watch, which is also really cool considering you're paying $14.99, and then you've got the watch itself. So if I take the watch away from this little plastic holder that it came in and put that down, we can now have a proper look at this watch. So this is the Auriol. It's the color edition. There's 4 colors. I picked up this one, which is the ice blue, and the green as well. There's also a sunburst yellow, which is it's really gorgeous as well, and there's a black, which is also really gorgeous. So to be honest, I'd be happy to have all 4, but in the end I went with these 2. They're selling in Lidl at the moment in the UK for $14.99, and again, like I said, it's a German brand called Auriol. You can see here written at the bottom, just by the 6, you've got color edition, which is basically the model of this particular watch. Now, what drew me to this watch, as you guys can see, it's that dial. That dial is really something special, guys. It's, again, relative to the price of the watch, it's basically reminiscent of a tapisserie dial, just similar to the Royal Oak, but obviously a million times less beautiful in terms of the quality of the finishing, etc. But just have a look at that texture on that dial, guys, and the 3D effect that you get. It's obviously an integrated style watch, integrated bracelet style watch. We'll go through some of the things that make it a cheaper watch quickly, just to go through those things so you guys don't think, okay, you're ignoring those factors. No, I understand. First of all, the bracelet doesn't taper. You've got a pressed clasp here. It's not actually stainless steel. The case back is, and the inner of the clasp is, but the rest of the watch, it doesn't specify what material it is. It because it says stainless steel case back at the back. That tells you that it's not stainless steel, but it's not a metal that's been coated. The watch has got some nice weight to it. Probably not as much weight as a full stainless steel watch would have, but it's got some nice weight to it. It's not in an alloy that's been coated. It looks a lot like, I'm really baffled by what material they've used, but they're able to apply finishes to this material, usually with alloy coated watches that are cheaper. A polished finish is all you're going to be able to get because of the nature of the coating, really. But this, because it doesn't have any coating, and it's a genuine metal watch, all solid links here as well, solid links all the way up to the top. It's they're able to apply a really nice finish to the watch relative to the price of the watch again, and that you've got the polishing on that bezel. You've got a really nice polish edge that goes from lug tip to lug tip all the way across the watch, and that bevel is really, really nice. And then you've got polishing in the center links. It's a 3-link bracelet. Again, it doesn't taper. It's 21 millimeters across, so it's quite a thick bracelet. And you can see here it's an integrated style, but the bracelet tucks in under the case, really. So in terms of lug to lug, even though the lug to lug here is quite, well, it's not actually very long. It's around 45 millimeters, but when you're wearing it, the bracelet itself wraps around your wrist even tighter than that, because you can see it tucks underneath. Yeah, so this is the Auriol color edition, and to me it's just absolutely stunning, and I couldn't help but buy it just by seeing it once. And now that I've brought it home, had a good look at it, I'm just really, really impressed with this watch. So this is what you get in the German high street, I would say. So if you're over in Germany and you're shopping on the high street, hopefully you'll come across watches of this standard. Of course, it's a cheap watch, and it's sold as a cheap watch, so you're not feeling like you're being ripped off in any way when you're buying a watch like this, and you get this kind of quality. It's just about that dial, guys. I don't know if it's coming across in the camera as well as it does in real life. I'm sure it isn't, to be honest, but there's some real depth to that dial. And it's giving off a real 3D effect. And then you've got, if you get closer, you've got the concentric circles all the way from the center all the way to the outer edge. You can see they go across all of those little squares. And so you've got a waffle pattern, and then you've got engraved concentric circles, in addition to obviously the overall sunburst effect of the dial. And this is the ice blue. It's just really, really beautiful. And then you've got some really thin but applied markers around. You've got the numerals on the 12, 3, 6, and 9, and then the batons on the other hours. All polished. You've got a framed date window there as well. It is a push-pull crown, but the crown is slightly recessed. We'll get that plastic out there, and we'll have a quick look at the watch. You can see there the crown is slightly recessed, which helps keep that symmetry in the shape. It's got a really nice, I would compare it, the case shape itself, to maybe a PRX. And then you've got the bracelet. What I would have loved to see taper on this bracelet, that would have been like, that's really all I need. I wouldn't care about much else, but a bit of taper on this bracelet would have been ideal. So this is the Auriol in ice blue, and I'll just show you guys as much as I can that beautiful dial. It is stunning. I really implore you guys to have a look. If you don't believe me, just go down to Lidl and take a look at one of these watches, and you'll think to yourself, okay, 14.99. If you're not if you don't feel a way about wearing a cheaper watch, and it doesn't mean anything to you, in fact this watch is going to look a lot more pricey on the wrist. It's just going to look a lot more expensive, I can guarantee that, and it's going to draw a lot of attention. I'm sure of that as well. If that's what you like, if you want to wear a watch that you could always get the black, which is a bit more subtle, but that also it really catches the eye because it's a black sunburst with this waffle pattern and the concentric circles as well engraved. Now, looking closely at the watch, it's really hard to tell if that's actually a flat dial and they've somehow created that effect on it, but you do get the shadow when you move it around in the light, so I do think there is texture to that dial, although it's very, very slight. It's really hard to pick it up, even in the camera, but also in real life. But because of the way the shadows are created around those edges of those the squares there that are kind of pronounced, that leads me to believe that it is textured, and it's just, either way, even if it wasn't, the way they've created that effect, the way that it has a 3D feel to it, depending on the angle you're looking at it, it's just absolutely gorgeous. And then moving on to the finishing of the case, you can see here you've got some really nice clean vertical brushing on the case, on the top of the case as well, and then you've got some really nice horizontal brushing on the sides of the case, which you can see there too. And then across the links you've got vertical brushing and then polishing in the center. And then on the actual clasp itself, it's just a very simple clasp. It's brushed all the way, and you have actually got a tiny bit of micro adjust there too. Only one, but something is better than nothing. So yeah, and this is a 40mm, 45 lug to lug, 21 across width of the links, the strap, and it is just really, and you've got that polishing on that bezel. It's a high polish finish, and it's just a good quality. You're going to see a reflection be blurred or anything like that. It's going to be quite clear, and yeah, it's just absolutely gorgeous. So because I just thought the watch was so gorgeous, I had to pick up a couple of them really. So this is the other color that I chose, which is the green. You can see here, this is how it's actually sold. It comes in a cardboard box, and then you 3-year warranty on this. I wasn't aware of that. I hadn't seen that, which is quite cool to see. And this is sold in the UK. It's sold exclusively in Lidl, and it's sold at £14.99. Yeah, believe it or not, I've actually seen these watches being sold on Vinted. Some people are selling them at a premiums, like anything up to £40, but some people are selling them really, really cheap. I saw both of these colors on sale for £20 each. Sorry, I take that back, £5 each, and with shipping and buyer protection and things like that, it would have come out to about £8. So you could have picked up both of these watches for the price of one over at Lidl, but you do have to shop around because there's a lot of people trying to sell them at a premium as well. So this is the documentation that comes with the watch. You can see it's got a QR code. You can get more information on the watch there. It's just standard instructions, but it's really quite comprehensive. I've actually been through it. I went through it because I wanted to try and find out if they listed the material of the watch, but they don't, unfortunately. I would love to know what material this is, because I'm only really familiar with alloy coated watches, and it's obviously stainless steel, especially at this price range. So I was really surprised to see a watch like this, which is clearly a metal that is finished. They've been able to finish the metal itself. It's finished to a really high quality standard, and also it's just really gorgeous. So if we just get that out the way and take that out the way again, you've got the spare links in there as well. So if you have got a really much larger wrist, you're going to find you're able to get the right fit. Here you go. So this is the green that I picked up. Of course, this is going to be a mineral crystal, not sapphire in any way. If you guys want to have a look at the case back, you can see here. There you can see it's an all stainless steel case back, Auriol, and you can see underneath at the very bottom you can see the address of the company or the details of the company where it's located in Epstein, Germany. So it's a German brand, a high street brand. I'm sure it's not made in Germany or anything like that, but it is a German brand. Let's just get the crown pressed in on this one. And then one thing you've also got on these watches is quick release links, really. If I could get the right words out, which is amazing to see on a watch at this price range. It means you can just swap out the strap, and I'm sure if you were to, it's going to be a bit of a strap monster, this one, because the straps are going to tuck in underneath the case there, and you're going to be able to get some really nice looks with some different choices of strap depending on how your taste. So I think a really nice leather strap with an interesting colour would look really good. Maybe a black strap with this watch would look awesome with the green and the black. With the ice blue, maybe a really nice tanned strap would look really good with the brown and the blue. So here you go, you can see the beauty of this dial again up close. It's just stunning. And if you think you can pick this watch up, this exact watch on Vinted, listed for £5, and directly from Lidl for around $14.99, even at the $14.99 price, I think it's amazing value for what you're getting. You're getting that integrated bracelet watch style. You're getting a really beautiful textured dial that has a sunburst finish that gives you multiple different colors depending on the lighting and the angle. It gives you a 3D sort of hypnotizing sort of look to it, really. It's something you could just stare at for a very long time, I think, especially if you're really into watches and you really love a beautiful dial. If you're anything like me, basically, you will find yourself just transfixed by this dial for a very long time. Yeah, and of course it is a cheaper watch, so some of the finishing is not in terms of fit and finish. You've got a few they're not soft edges or anything like that. They're not too sharp though. They are pretty coarse, but on the wrist, that kind of thing doesn't really affect the comfort of these watches. You're going to find that on the wrist you're not going to feel those sharp edges or anything like that. Let's see if I can get this plastic off. Okay, so I managed to get the stickers off. It's just really nice to see an integrated bracelet style at this price point with really decent finishing on the wrist. Is going to look spectacular, I can assure you of that. Especially with this style, you're going to get a lot of people who are just going to be drawn to that 3D mesmerizing sort of look to it, and you can see that from a distance as well, even though it's difficult to show on camera. But out and about in the daylight, wow, it is just one of the most stunning watches at this price range that you're ever going to see. I think it's just gorgeous, and I think they've just smashed it out of the park, really, this particular brand, in terms of just the look that it gives you and the feel that it gives you as well. Because of that, the way the links go underneath the case, you're going to get a really nice fit to this as well. You can see here that it's going to wrap around the wrist really well, and you're going to get a really nice fit. Of course, this is my wrists, and my wrists are quite small, so yeah, so you may think, oh, it is a 40mm, I would have loved it to be a 36, but it's not going to bother me. On the camera it doesn't look as it does in real life. It actually looks really nice in my opinion, so it's not going to bother me at all that they haven't made this in a 36mm. They have to make it in a more universal size, considering it's a high street brand as well, of course. And they're going to be selling these on the high street. They need to kind of appeal to the mass market. So at 40mm, you're able to cater for people with larger wrists, smaller wrists, and then most of the people who've got average size wrists out there. So it doesn't, yeah, I'm not too fussed about the 36mm and not being 36. It is 40, 45 on the lug to lug. You've got a 21mm strap, which is an unusual size. It's not the easiest one to replace, but I think if you were to go for a 20 in there, I don't see that being too much of an issue. The way it tucks underneath, you're not going to notice too much. But again, the star of the show on this watch, guys, is this style. It's an absolutely gorgeous style, and I really, really want you guys to have a look for yourself. If the watch looks good to you on camera and you think, okay, I want to see it in real life and see if it's really as special as he's making out, I implore you to go have a look. Just go down to Lidl, check it out. I'm not sure it'll be available, how long it'll be available for. It's obviously something new they're trying, collaborating with this particular German brand and bringing out a watch. I don't know, maybe it's a Lidl brand. I'm not sure. I know they do that with food. They bring out their own brands and they give them new names. They don't just call it Lidl. They give those brands their own name, but they're technically all Lidl branded. So maybe this is, but this is basically German high street watches, and I would say German high street watches at their very finest at this price point. Now I want to show you guys a comparison. So I've got the famous Casio, the Tiffany, and I'll bring that out now, and I want to show you the comparison of these watches, because I really think this watch, that watch is obviously around £35 retail, but there's people, obviously there's scalpers out there trying to sell that watch for crazy amounts of money, or even now there's people trying to sell it over the odds. But when it first came out, there's people trying to sell that watch for like £200, 150, things like that, just because some guys or some people are just not willing to wait, even though it's a bit silly. They just want to jump on the hype train when the hype train is there. But me, I waited, and I bought it at retail and I actually got a £5 discount, so I bought it at £30. Yeah, even at that price, this just walks all over it, really. And I'll show you. I'll bring the watch out now, and we'll have a little comparison between these watches. Let me just place that down. So this is the Casio, the very famous one with the Tiffany dial and the fluted bezel, obviously made to look like resemble a Datejust. So this is that watch, right? And what you've got here is you've got stainless steel links which are folded. You've got an alloy case which is coated. Now, to be fair to Casio, that coating on that alloy case is really well done, so it looks premium, and there are levels to alloy case coatings and nickel coatings, whatever they may be, and this is at the top end of that. But when you look at this watch and then you bring out, let's bring out the ice blue because it's a closer color. Look, just have a look at that, guys. Look how plain and simple that Tiffany dial is, and then look at the light play on this, and look at the fact that they're able to achieve, obviously with this watch on the case it's just fully polished because you're not able to achieve a brushed finish on a coating such as that, but here they're able to achieve a contrast in finishing. They're able to achieve vertical brushing, polishing on the bevels, polishing on the bezels and the center links, so it gives it some balance all the way through the watch. And then they're able to achieve a dial like that, and that's for less than half the retail price of this watch. Not even the types of prices that people were asking for this watch when it first came out. So at less than half the retail price of this watch, you can pick this up. And I just think this is why you've got to shop around sometimes, guys. You don't want to be too fixated on the brand, because there are other companies out there doing some really cool things, and in terms of value for money, I love this watch, this particular Casio. I do love it, and I'll keep it in my collection for as long as it survives, really. I've worn it so much, and I just like it because it's cheap, cheerful, and looks really good. And I've so yeah, I do love the watch. But then when I think about, wow, I'm just glad that I'm not fixated on brands and things like that. And when I see something like this, I'm able to appreciate it too. Obviously, it's not a brand that I'm familiar with in any way, but guys, come on, just look at that. Look at the contrast in finishing. Look at the quality. Again, I do not know what material this is, but whatever material it is, it's a really good material for cheaper watches, and I think other companies should utilize it because it just looks great. Obviously, with these folded links, they are able to create a brush finish on those because that is a stainless steel bracelet, but they're folded again. It's the way it articulates is nothing compared to this. Just look at the articulation on this watch here. If you look at the way the bracelet is just flowy, it flows beautifully. It's just really, really nice. So that means it's just adding to the comfort. And then you've got the Casio, because of the way those folded links are, they're not the best quality. Comfort wise, it's not going to compare to this. I can tell you straight away. I've worn this for many months, for many days on end, over and over again, and yes, I've never had a discomfort issue, but I just know straight away that once I get the right fit with this watch, it's going to feel really, really cool. It's going to feel beautiful. So that is the Auriol. Now let's bring out the other one and we'll just hold them both together and have a quick last look. Just have a look at this, guys. These are two absolutely stunning watches. Really, really gorgeous. And I just can't believe they've managed to achieve this at that price range. Of course, it's going to have a cheap quartz movement in it, but it's actually a Japanese quartz movement, so I'm guessing it's either a Miyota or a Seiko, and obviously one of the cheaper ones. But nonetheless, with those movements, if it is a Miyota, it's so simple to replace if you needed to. If you can keep this, and because it's got a solid metal case, solid links, it's just a watch that you feel like it's not, it doesn't feel as cheap as it is. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart or it's disposable. It feels like a real watch, and it certainly looks the part. It certainly looks the part. And that dial, guys, that dial is gorgeous. I would even, yeah, I've said it previously in the video. I'll go out on my limb. I'll go out on the limb and say this is the best dial you're going to see at this price range anywhere in the world, whether it be AliExpress, whether it be high streets, whether it be more premium brands, whether it be more well-known brands, established brands, just anywhere. You're not going to get better than this. And I really hope the camera's doing it justice, because that 3D effect that you get, and then the way the light plays in the shadows on those squares, and then those concentric circles that are seemingly engraved into the dial, all the way, really tight circles from the center all the way out. It's just something special, guys. It really is. And you just have to see it to believe it. And yeah, it's $14.99. That's the price of these watches. You can actually pick them up on Vinted. Both of these I saw listed for £5. Obviously around £8 with all the additional costs to get it landed. But £8, guys, or $14.99, either one is just really, really good value. Stunning. And they're gonna, when I bought them originally, because I was buying them from Lidl, I was like, okay, where they're gonna fit in my collection? But they're gonna go proudly in my collection for sure. And I'm gonna wear them and enjoy them so much, just knowing that they're just beautiful. And I'm really interested to see what other people think, whether they agree with me or not, or whether they can just tell from a mile away that this is a cheaper watch bought from somewhere like Lidl. I highly doubt it, to be honest. But you guys can let me know what you think from the camera, from the video, whether you think that is the case or not. And you can see here, only one micro adjust on the small little clasp there, but that doesn't bother me too much. These edges are pretty rough, and again, when you're holding the watch, it's not rough, it's just sharp, I should say. They're pretty sharp. Not sharp enough to cut you in any way. You could press them, but you can just feel that they're not soft all the way around. They're not soft edges everywhere or anything like that. But again, on the wrist, that's going to make no difference at all. It's just going to feel really good. Okay guys, so I went ahead and sized the watch for my wrists, and just to show you guys a quick glimpse as what it looks like on a really slim wrist. at least it's obviously a 40mm, even though it's going to look larger on my wrist, but it does fit well. I've managed to get a nice fit on it. I haven't used all the micro adjusts, so I can get it slightly tighter or looser, which is nice, and you can see it just looks great. And I think obviously a lot of watches that I wear are going to look better on slightly larger wrists. So if you do have an average size wrist of any sort, or even a slim wrist that's not as slim as mine, you're going to really get a beautiful looking watch. And so yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I'm definitely going to wear it a lot, especially over the summer. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and do tune in for any other videos. Please leave your comments if you do have any about the watch, any thoughts. I'd really be interested to hear from you. And if you do like the videos, I know the quality of the videos is not the best out there, but they will improve. And if you do like the kind of content that I'm putting out there and want to be there as I hopefully improve, please do subscribe. Thank you very, very much, guys. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.